how close did you feel to getting over the hump this time against the Warriors?
One half of basketball. 2 games. Game 6 and 7. One half of basketball. We just didn't have the same energy that we had in that first half, our pace. So it's extremely frustrating.
I was telling JR before we even went on, and as it was airing, I know James Harden doesn't give a lot, but you could just feel it. You could feel his frustration, as he said, and just defeat. And this is the authenticity of sports, where even in the most trying of times, players just moments after losing the biggest game of their lives have to be trotted out there and address questions to the media. And that is tough, and I give them credit for it, always. And seeing James Harden's defeatedness and also the truthfulness, because I'm gonna show you the numbers in a second. These last 2 games were a tale of 2 halves. They got killed in the 3rd and 4th quarters. They could not close.
I feel like that was almost every game in the series, 3rd and 4th. No, 3rd quarters, not every 4th quarter.
It was like a baseball team that has over 100 wins in a season and no closer. You lose in the most important times of the game. Let's just say no bullpen. You have great starters that'll get you to innings 6 and 7, and you have nobody who can hold it for 8 and 9.
Because actually, that's what makes it even more of a gut-wrenching defeat, is when you had it.
Yeah.
You had the recipe, you were on that road, and somewhere there was a detour.
Totally. So here's what Klay Thompson had to say after defeating the Houston Rockets in game number 7, discussing the second half. Take a look.
The thought at halftime was how bad we played on the offensive end. Coach Kerr told us that might have been the worst offensive half we've had all year, yet we're only down 11 points. So we were actually encouraged, believe it or not. And we knew we'd have a great shot in the second half. We just stuck together, moved the ball, cut our turnovers down, and make them take tough shots. So we weren't too worried, believe it or not. Our fan base probably was, but it just felt good to slug it out because that was a grinding type of game.
It was very much so a grinding type of game. And I completely agree with Steve Kerr's assessment. They were down 14 at one point. They were down double digits at half. It felt like they were down 40. And yet it was still within striking range.
They were stagnant. They were standing around. Totally. They did not look like the Warriors. Now and as I was watching it, it's what I was saying. Whenever it happened when the Patriots in the Super Bowl, whenever you have a team that's that great and you have them down, you don't sit back and go, oh, we're doing great. It's what Atlanta did in the Super Bowl again. Yes. It's not what Philadelphia did in the Super Bowl. It's like you learn from that mistake, you go, okay. And Shaq says it all the time, man. Again, I had so much disdain for the early 2000 Lakers that had those 3 championships. But he says it every time. He goes, you have a team down, you stomp on their throat.
Yes.
That's just what it is. It's like no mercy. It's like Cobra Kai. Isn't that what it was from Karate Kid?
Yes.
No mercy. Because then and it's not even mercy that they're giving, but it's just relaxing because it's a tough game. You go, hey, we're up 15 on the world champions who can score 15 points in 35 seconds.
My own opinion. You know what they got away from? And I was telling you this on the group text. Sorry for all of you that aren't involved. So what I told JR was they need to keep running these pick and rolls with Capella. Even if Steve Kerr wanted to do hack a Capella, okay, you're still getting something instead of going 0 for 27 at one point from 3-point range. It was unstoppable.
What was I saying every time he got the ball?
Who?
I said it every time Capella got the ball. On an alley-oop or a dive down, feed him.
Yes.
I kept saying, feed him. And feed him again.
And they didn't.
Because that's the other
And they
rule.
panicked. That's panic coaching by playing Ryan Anderson, who got killed in the pick and roll. At least Clint Capella is a reasonably good defender, even if you got to go up against the highest of upper echelon ball handlers in Stephen Curry. He still has the length and the athleticism and the quickness in order to get back and try to close out a little bit. Ryan Anderson has none of that. And I think he's a good player. Just in this day and age, to play against those guys in the pick and roll in game 7 of a playoff series where Houston hasn't gone to a final since Hakeem Olajuwon, you don't die on that hill. You don't, in my opinion. Speaking of, here was Stephen Curry after the game. Take a look and we'll discuss.
I think after the game, there's a calmness at halftime in the locker room because we knew how bad we were playing. Looked up, we were down 10 or whatever. 11, and knew that we had been in this situation before, obviously not in this building, but where we could really just lock back in, get some stops, and like I said, just change the momentum to our side. So I think it was just a level of experience and just maturity from our group that helped us get through to the finish line.
Very much so, and yes, it had a lot to do with Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant having incredible second halves, including in the fourth quarter. It also had to do with James Harden and the Houston Rockets being inept at shooting the basketball. James Harden was a plus 10.6 per 100 possessions in the first half of the series, a minus 30 and a hook in the second half. Tim Doyle, my former coworker, had this to say: Game 6, second half, Warriors 64, Rockets 25. You see the numbers. In a total of 48 minutes, they were outscored, Houston, 122-63, and so on and so forth. One that I want to show, if we skip along, is the Rockets' third quarter. Look at all of these zeros that they ended up missing. Tons of threes. Tons and tons and tons and tons of threes. The shot chart right here. It is ugly. And then in the fourth quarter, it's still ugly. And look at all the twos that Golden State gave up. They're like, yeah, we'll give you those. A lot of those came in garbage time where James Harden had 6 straight points because nobody wanted to foul him. But gosh, this was a horrible showing, and it was great timing from Golden State to heat up. And I told you, the 30-footer that Kevin Durant hit, that's when you knew.
I mean, because it's an emotional. It's, as Curry said, there is a momentum shift. Once you have the momentum, your shots even have a different feel to it in your heart.
Very much so.